Alright guys, what's going on? Wanted to cover a few topics with you real quick while I was thinking about it. The first topic was suggested to me by another driver, Brent, which is a good topic. There was a question posted in one of the expediting groups, and the group name, I don't recall which group it was, but the question, and this is concerning a van, cargo van, sprinter size van, but a van load in general. The question was, what should you charge for a 1,000 pound skid going 30 miles? Obviously there was a bunch of answers, and several of them were kind of in the same range, but some of them were really cheap, which kind of highlights one of the issues that I've talked about before, which is people not knowing rates. You know, there's no book out there on what rates should be. It's kind of you figure it as you go, you know. And you know, some people, their business model calls for to doing that load for 50 bucks. I mean, others like myself and Brent, we look at it as a minimum of $250 for a simple pick and drop, where if there's more needed, like it's a hand load and unload, if the van happens to have a lift gate, needing a dolly, blankets, whatever kind of extra service it needs, white glove type of service it needs, you're going to upcharge accordingly. And the reason, some might think that, you know, a minimum of $250 might be a lot. Some may, I mean, there might be some of you that think that's not enough. But the reason you're charging at least a minimum of a certain amount on a short load like that, mind you, if it works accordingly, you get there, you pick it up, you drop it, you're done in about an hour and 15 minutes. You just made a quick 250 bucks. But if it don't work out, they're late getting it out, there's issues with getting it received, you know, any kind of issues that hangs you up on either end of that pick or delivery, now you're out the day. You know, when that load, again, another thing about that load is that's a load that I would be more inclined to bid on at the very beginning of the day or the end of the day. I'm not doing it in the meat part of the day. So that's the thing about why you're bidding minimum, though, is that if it ties you up, like, you're out all that time. Like, you turn what should have been an hour to an hour and 20-minute job into a 6-hour day. The 250 bucks don't look as good now, does it? So that's the point in trying to bid, you know, something. You should have a number, and I've heard other guys, hot shotters and things like that, talk like there's a minimum number that they have to just even leave to go get a, you know, a specific load. You know, mine is 250 as far as if I were to bid things. Again, it highlights the cheap rates that others are willing to take because they don't understand what you can't get. I mean, you're offering in expediting and anything as far as when you get these shipments, they're given to you via and under the premise that you are offering expedited delivery, you know, time critical, or any kind of white glove, which means any kind of care given to that specific load. You're now offering a specialized service. You're not offering a simple courier service that you go pick up a package and you take it from point A to point B, and that's that. Like, this is specialized service you're offering. You've got expenses included in all that, so you know you have to charge accordingly. That's basically the point I wanted to get on that. People really need to think about rates in general, and I've said it before. I've said it over and over and over about the rates. Understand the rates, and again, some of my thoughts on what certain rates should be may be skewed. I may be too high, I may be too low, I don't know. It's just from my own experiences. These are the numbers that I've come across, and that's what I try to share with you guys. I don't share this as though I'm the end-all, be-all answer to what you should be doing. next thing I want to talk on, we're going to slide over to a conversation about these curtain side vans. Now, to any of you running a curtain side, take offense to my opinion all you want. I feel about them what I feel about them, and that's just that. Any of you that are running them and you are trying to do the right thing with them, I get it, and I appreciate that. But overall, well, first, for any of you that don't understand what a curtain side is, it's those vans you see out there. It's got a big box on a cabin chassis, and it's basically a tarped sides. And you see that little coffin sleeper on the top side of the cab of the cabin chassis. Those are what I'm referring to as a curtain side. I'll put a picture up there of one so you see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to explain to you why I have a negative opinion of them. I get, just like with these sprinter size vans, when they started coming out and guys started getting those, and it kind of created a certain niche for them above the cargo vans, so they was able to get a little better than the cargo, and what would have normally fit in a small straight was now going into a sprinter. So I get it. What I don't like about it is that, from my experience, what I've come across, once again, a lot of these people that have those are running them illegally and putting more weight on them than what they're supposed to haul. It's just funny because, come across people that have run them, and when they're running them, they say one thing, and then you find out later down the road that they were doing what you kind of suspected they were doing with them. And it's easy to try to do. You can jack those things up to make them dock high. They can take some sizable, dimension-wise freight. So you've then created another niche of you're able to offer more space, more capacity, and able to be dock high than what a sprinter can. So now you're getting, or you should be, let's say that, some of them may not be, you should be getting a better rate than what the sprinter cargo vans can get, but you're charging less than what a straight truck would charge to take it. So now you're kind of creating that own niche. But they're abusing the regulations of the under 10,000. They're skating that line because they're just going under the idea that they're just not going to get caught, and chances are they won't. But I'm not, again, for what it's worth, again, I don't try to talk like I'm that guy, like everything's got to pass through me. I just simply have opinions on the way things are done. It's not like I've done everything exactly as it should be either, so it's not like I'm holier than thou. I'm just simply giving you my opinions on certain things, and at the same time, I get it. I get why they're trying to use them. I mean, I truly do. I've definitely been tempted to purchase one of those. And why I haven't? For one, those things are not engineered to take that heavy-ass shit and that big-ass shit that they're putting on them things. Like, I don't know anybody yet that have had those things and not had some serious problems. I'm talking about multiple engines put in it, multiple transmissions over time, a lot of suspension issues. Those things, they're in that special niche. They're trying to get, like I said, certain types of freight that doesn't pull well on the back of those things. Those things are just a cabin chassis with the curtain side box to it. So any of you that are familiar with hauling freight, when you get like smaller things and they're heavier or they're dimensioned oddly, it makes for a horrible ride. And that's what people don't think. That's tough on your suspension. And then you throw a driver in there that's driving that van and don't know how to drive it according to the way it's handling. So now you're putting even more stress on all of these things, in the transmission and the engine. And those ProMasters, they're not the greatest for torque to begin with. And so now you're trying to haul it heavy, and most of those loads, I shouldn't even say most of them, a good many of those loads are going out west, going to odd places, which is a lot of mountains, a lot of curves. So that's going to put added wear and tear on that van. But that's my biggest issue with it, is that they're kind of, again, they're more affecting the straight truck rates than they are the Sprinter van rates, to be honest. So it doesn't really affect me in my pocket. It's affecting others, and that's what I don't like. And I don't like, the biggest thing that I don't like that's concerning my area of this is that they're running that heavy shit. They're running over. And, like, you want to try to say you're not in those things, as I said, I know some of you that have done it, flat out lying. They try to say they don't. I know a couple people that try to act like they're out there doing the right thing, and they're steadily running that heavy ass shit in those things. So, yeah, that's just a quick rundown on that. Like I said, this is just a kind of a few thoughts that's on the top of my head about things that I've been seeing on Facebook and talking with people about, and that I just wanted to kind of touch on. Another, sliding into the next one, seen a video by a driver who was saying that on a load he needed some rest, and he was told no. Now, come to find out, that isn't what happened. He wasn't told flat out no, but that isn't the point of why I'm bringing it up. It's the reason I'm bringing it up is that if any of you driving ever come across an issue to where your dispatch tells you no, you cannot stop and sleep, and you're driving and you're feeling unsafe, you stop and get to sleep. Now, mind you, they may eventually let you go and you go find another carrier, but at the same time, you don't risk your life for it. And again, if you've done a lot of things in that load that made you to where you have to now run X amount of hours past your comfort zone because you screwed off all your extra time you had, well, you're an asshole that deserves to be let go from that carrier anyhow. So you got what you got coming to you regardless. But if you're out there, you're doing the right thing, you're managing things the best way you know how, and you're tired, or maybe you're just you're getting, you've gotten sick while you're on the road and you just are super fatigued, like, just don't drive past the point of being tired to where it's unsafe. Now, on the flip side of that, if your carrier's worth their shit, you communicate these things with them and they will take care of it. They will communicate with the broker and they will situate everything. What you don't want to do, though, is you do not want to just not communicate and do what you want, have a service failure. Because what I don't think drivers understand is that when you have a service failure, that affects the dispatch, carrier, broker, whatever you want to call who you are getting your loads through. That affects them directly and more significantly than it affects you. If a certain carrier has X amount of service failures, or even one service failure with a certain customer, like, that customer may never use them again. The driver, who cares? I can go find another carrier, another dispatcher, another broker, whatever. I can go out there. Now, that company that used that customer, they're the ones hurting, because maybe that was a good customer and now they can't find somebody to replace it. It isn't easy to replace a good customer or a good relationship you have as it is for a driver to go find another place to run under. So communicate any of these things. Stop if you're tired, if you really have to, and at the same time, manage your time right. Do everything accordingly. Like I said, you're out here to make money and make a living for the most part. Do that. You're not out here to socialize and go kick it, with your dudes or whatever it may be. Go check out those sites. If you are, obviously, as I've said before, get with the type of, get in a situation that makes that all work well together. Don't be with the carrier that is wanting you to run, because that's what most carriers or dispatchers want. They want somebody that's going to drive. I mean, that's what they want. They don't want you to get on with them to be out of service all the damn time, and then they gotta hem haul. They're holding a spot, because they don't want to have so many vans service, they can't manage them. So they have a certain number of vans they want to keep. Don't hold a spot and be a non-productive, you know, tourist out there. Kind of drifted off into another part of that with all that, but the bottom line is, don't drive unsafe. Don't let your dispatch make you drive unsafe. And, you know, at the same time, be honest with yourself about the situation. You know, are you the one that created the fact that you have to run tight? Or are you just not capable of doing this job in general? That's why there's always a protect time. You always need to check your delivery time before you take off. You need to know yourself, and you need to know if this load you're about to do is doable or not. If there's a question with it or a concern with it, again, you should have, a lot of times you'll have that kind of information ahead of time, or you'll know how you're usually ran by that carrier. I mean, communicate. Just don't take the load, you know? Don't accept that load. But, yeah, guys, just be safe out here. You know, that's the other reason I wanted to touch on that is that, you know, again, this is concerning Brent. Brent had a post out there several days ago about a friend of his being in an accident, and if I recall correctly, I mean, he passed due to that accident, and he was a driver. Guys, you got to do things right, man. Don't want to see people dying out here on the road. And then again, I'm not saying that because I'm suggesting he was tired or anything, because I don't know the exact circumstances of what happened with the accident. So that's not in any way what I'm implying. I have no idea what caused the accident. It's just that that can happen if you run unsafe. So that's why I'm correlating the two and mentioning the two together. We've seen many. It's the same thing with the other side of driving safe and not driving tired. Don't be all up in your phone all the time either. Always be mindful of what's going on around you and the traffic in front of you. Don't have your eyes down at your phone all the damn time. Some people just can't take their eyes off of their phone. And I get it, because you're out here driving for miles and miles and miles, and you're just trying to pass the time a little bit, but just try to be mindful and be safe. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for now. Yeah, I'm going to continue on this load up to Princeton, Indiana, and